Okay. You ready? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode one, two, three, three. Episode three of Sorry I'm Ignorant with your host, me, Anthony. Today, my special guest is my amazing friend, Nadia Guzman. Nadia, would you care to introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah. So Anthony and I have been pretty much friends for a super long time. Grew up in church together. I mean, I could tell you so many stories about Anthony, but this is not the show for that.
We're not getting to that.
Oh no, no, no. I would need like maybe a year.
So, for those of you who do not know who Nadia is, she is an amazing singer and musician. Musician, that's the key word. She's not just an amazing singer. She's a growing musician. She's got talent, y'all. She's got talent. So, Nadia, I have you here today to help me understand what it's like to be a singer. I'm ignorant in the ways of singing, so I was hoping you could teach me on that.
Yeah, I mean, be a singer in general, I really need to have willpower. And I think, personally for me, I always thought of it more as a hobby and not really as like a career. So
Hmm.
when I started studying music in college, I noticed how much practice really does. And there are certain habits that we have that we don't even recognize.
Hmm.
And that's not healthy when it comes to singing. And sometimes we think, okay, we'll just sing, like kind of it's just like whatever. But there's some of those things that we don't even notice that could eventually harm our voices. So I think to be a singer, you really just need to have self discipline, and definitely forgive yourself for little mistakes that you're going to make along the way, because you're basically retraining your instrument to play or to produce sound correctly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Because I've been told that this like vocal cord, I guess, is a muscle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I
So
guess
it's kind of like any other muscle in your body, you need to exercise, right? So let's say, it's arm day or whatever, you're going to be doing curls, you're going to be doing weightlifting and all that stuff. So when it comes to your vocal cords, that's something that you constantly need to work out, especially if
mm,
you want to get bigger, get stronger, if you want to increase your range. That's something that you have to do over time. Practice makes perfect. And that doesn't go for, musicians, that also goes for singers too.
okay. Wow. How did you start singing?
How did I start singing? I don't know. I think that's probably a better question for my mom. Uh, I singing, I mean, literally since I could remember, and even before that, I mean, as I was a child, I was always constantly singing. Um, so I don't know if it's a question of how I started singing, because my background, like even my mom and my mom's siblings, most of them sing. We are
Mhm.
all kind of musical. My brothers are musical, believe it or not. Are playing an instrument, I think we all still have that musical background.
Mm.
So, I mean, it's kind of a hard question to ask, but I've kind of been singing forever.
Forever. Wow. So so you got some knowledge. You've been singing for what's that? 21 years now?
I mean, 21 years in like a couple days because my birthday's coming up. But
Ah.
yeah,
Shout out to her. When this episode comes out, it's gonna be in November, but in the comments,
yeah,
put
my
happy birthday.
birthday. Yeah,
Everyone.
Anthony.
Everyone watching. If you don't put happy birthday, you're gonna go in the ominous pit. This is where everyone goes
Real.
that doesn't like the video. If you don't like the video, this is where you go.
Oh my god.
You don't want to know what's back there.
No, I really don't.
So that okay, so you've been singing forever. So
Yes.
there that would mean that there has to be times where you feel good about singing and times where you don't feel good about singing. How do you push yourself? How do you discipline yourself to keep going, keep learning, keep growing even though you don't want to?
Um, I think it's not of whether I want to or not. It's kind of what I'm singing, like material that I'll be singing. Especially when it comes to school, it's a requirement for me to sing in different languages.
Mm.
So certain languages are harder than other. So it just requires a lot more like tedious work that isn't singing. So like for example, there's a German song that I've been working on, and most of the time I'm not even singing. It she has me speaking,
Ah.
having that like it kind of just feels weird in my mouth because I speak English and I speak Spanish, and those are the opposites of like German. So I think pushes me to keep going and to really just get over that hump of learning is just the satisfaction I get when I know it sounds right and that I actually did it. Like I like
Mm.
knowing like wow, I worked really hard for that and there's a really good outcome. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah. Like the satisfaction, the feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah, exactly. The feeling of
Okay, so you said that you sing. Well, you're required to sing in a different language. When for that language, did you have to learn the rules of that language, or did you just
accomplishment.
speak it?
Yeah, I had to take like a diction class, and in that diction class they'll teach you the different rules and what are the different kind of like how do you say like the makes it that language. Like for example, for German, it's a lot of forward vowels, a lot of like UKC kind of sounding, so it'll help
Mm.
like create the most authentic German have. And when it comes to French, they want you to have a very nasally kind of sound to it. In that diction class, they teach you how to do that. Unfortunately, my personal voice teacher, she speaks fluent French. So, they're kind of
So I'd imagine this is just my ignorance. Forgive me, but in in your school, I'd imagine you'd sing more than the one type of style of music. Have you ever
uh-huh.
sang opera?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. It's not opera is not really a genre per se.
Oh.
Opera is a type of show. So in an
Ah.
opera, it would just be music. It's music the whole time. There's not really dialogue. So what that type of genre is considered is classical singing.
Ah.
To sing without a microphone. That's why naturally I'm pretty loud. Really the mic. Um, but when it comes to classical singing, that's they teach you how to use your own body as like an acoustic instrument.
That's cool. Cause I've recently found a fascination for classical music and opera music. Cause I found this radio station when I was scrolling through because my car like its battery died, so I had to reset the radio stations, and I found this one classical station, and so I kept it, I saved it, I put it on every time I drive, and now whenever my dad's with me, he's like, I I'm behind like centuries with music because my brother he likes 70s, he likes Michael Jackson and all that, and then you got me that's going to Beethoven and Johann Sebastian Bach. So it's crazy, but I do love classical music. I feel like classical music is telling a story. You just gotta find it.
Definitely is, and it's basically the basis of what we listen.
Mm-hmm. You, you still there? Okay. Thought I lost you for a minute. But yeah, you're right. It is the basis. It's I like this one by Johann Bach. It's pretty famous. It's I don't remember what it's called, but it's if you hear, it's one of those where like if you hear it, you know it. And they always remind me of like Tom and Jerry or Looney Tunes and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, it is going to remind you because they did use those pieces for Tom and Jerry. So a lot of the classical pieces that I've sung or that I've studied is technically from Tom and Jerry, but not really.
Okay, that's cool. So what last section, last question. What is next for you? Because I know you mentioned you're in school for what is it, musical arts? Is that what the like the I don't know what it's called. Is that what you're studying, musical arts?
No, no, no. Music education. My major is
Music
music ed.
education. Okay, so
Yeah.
what's next? What do you what's your goal within the music education?
So basically, when it comes to music ed, it is a big umbrella that it's kind of like something that you can do in music if you have an ed degree. You basically can kind of almost do everything. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna, hopefully, Lord willing, I'll graduate with a bachelor's in music education, and then I'm gonna continue on to grad school,
Mm.
and I'm gonna get my master's degree in arts administration. So for arts administration, that's kind of like my end goal. And with that, I can kind of like do a lot of like managing. So it'll be like I could manage
Ah.
people, or I can, manage a solo artist if that's the way I want to go. It kind of just, it's just it's kind of broad, but within art, it kind of gives like a good background. You know what I mean?
Huh. Okay, so you have the opportunity to work for labels and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that's my goal.
Ah.
But I've been open to a lot of different things, and I don't know if it's spiritual at all, but I do have a calling in worship ministry and worship leading. So wherever God leads me, I will go, definitely. I want to do what's in His will, so I know that He has the best plans for me. So even though I have certain plans, He might have different plans for me. So I'm staying open, but I know for sure that whatever I do, I'm going to do it for by Him. So that's my end all goal right there.
Amen. Because that is facts that I have never heard truer words. We all got a plan, but it don't matter about our plan. That is so true.
Absolutely.
That is very true. And I feel like a lot of people need to realize that because they try and follow their plan. They try and, do step by step, and then eventually this one step doesn't work out, and then they blame the big man even though they
Yeah,
didn't, follow God's plan. This like I forget a
absolutely.
couple months ago, Pastor Mike Todd, he was preaching on ripping up your lists and
Yeah,
how that's our basically how our life is going, how we our projected life. We have certain things: go to school, get married, have kids, and what God is saying is rip that up, because what I have planned for you is much more better, is going to be more abundant than what you can ever imagine. You feel me? Did you get that? What is going on? What is going on with my computer? About that, had some technical difficulties, but we're back now. So, where was I? Lists, right? Okay. So I feel like everyone in this world has an agenda, has their agenda, and if usually their agenda doesn't line up with God's will, so at one point that agenda is gonna crumble, and it's because it wasn't based on a solid foundation, which is God's will. You catching what I'm dropping?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just something like as humans that we struggle with.
Mm,
That we always we want to have this big plan for our life, and we feel like we're in control, which to a certain extent, yes, we are, but God is the one that's in control 100%. I mean, there's really nothing we can do, or there's nothing that we can, or there's nothing that we can plan that he doesn't already know about. You know what I mean? So he probably is laughing at me telling you this, like, oh, Nadia thinks that this is what her plan is going to be, and this is what she thinks that she's going to do. Well, little does she know that's not going to happen. Like, you know, so
yeah.
it's kind of, it's just a part of being human. We have to be willing servants, and I think that's something, you know, for those people that know my dad, he's like to everything, and he's always told me, be open to God's voice, because it could be in the instant of, like, you know, right then and there where he's telling you to do something that's gonna eventually like affect your whole life, you know
Mm,
what I mean, kind
mm-hmm. I do, and it's I like that being open because it's funny how when you look back at say freshman year, you had this idea of what you thought you were gonna be once you graduated, and then once you graduated, you had another plan. Like for me, I going into high school, I thought I was gonna go to college off of soccer. What's it called? Soccer scholarship. Then sophomore year, I ended up
of
not
scholarship.
playing
Uh-huh.
soccer. Yeah, after sophomore year, I ended up not playing soccer anymore. So then junior and senior year, I had no idea what I was gonna do. Senior year comes
Mm-hmm.
and I already knew I wasn't going to college. So I got a job as a busboy. I had no idea what I was gonna do. And I ended up going to a trade school for HVAC, fixing air conditioners, heaters, all that good stuff. So then I thought to myself, hey, maybe I'm gonna get a career in this. Who knows? Let me be open. Found a job in that, thank God. And now Corona took all that away. So I was left with my hands empty. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? So then the pandemic really opened up my eyes, and now I'm starting a show. Like, I never knew I would start my own podcast slash show. I never had that in my mind, but here I am. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy though how God can take you to a different route than what you originally thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it's also beautiful how pieces from the past are kind of fall into place. Like I love this quote that says, "Your life isn't falling apart; it's falling together." That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. That is really good.
Well, Nadia, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story and educating me on the life of a singer, on what it is to be a singer. Hopefully, one day I get to be as a percentage of what you are as a singer.
That's so
But
sweet. Yeah,
thank
I would
you.
just say, if you really have like a desire for it, just practice.
Heard that, y'all? Just practice. Cause I know a lot of you can sing, but y'all don't wanna put into practice. You don't have confidence in yourself. Be confident. Look,
Yeah.
here's a piece of advice. If you're not confident, just act confident. Nobody will know the difference unless you tell them. It works.
Yeah.
Well, Nadia, thank you
Real.
for coming on, and hope you have a good
Yeah,
night.
you're so welcome. Yeah, thank you. You too.